Welcome to this video in which I'm going to be looking at making a little bag tag cover for our school bag tags. So we've got a bag tag right here, and I've put some tape over the student's name here. I made this prototype to begin with. Did it in card to make sure everything fitted together. And then once I was happy with the layout and the details, I was then able to go and make my final product. Now I've actually made a whole bunch of products here because what I want to be doing is looking at different press stud or now then, I should have researched this first, shouldn't I? What do you call that? Sort of like a little rivet attachment, I guess. Two systems for making sure that these close together. And one of the things I've not got in this video is how we're going to add it to the actual bag, but I guess I'll look at that in a second video. So what I've got here is I've been laser cutting this out of this special laser cutting compatible leather. And I think as well, this is sustainable leather, so it doesn't come from the hide of animals. So you can see with this particular one, I've got a red backing and a silver front. I can actually laser engrave on either the front or the back. I can't laser engrave on both. So I can't laser engrave on this and then laser engrave on this as well. We're just going to do it on one side. And if I do it on the red side instead, you see it still works quite nicely. And then the silver would be then on the inside. We've got different colors here as well. We've got brown and black. So you can see here I've laser engraved onto the brown side and here onto the black side, and the brown comes through. And then we've also got blue and black. And I think that one stands out a bit better than this one here. Now, at this point, you may be wondering why it is that I've got them two ways round. And the reason why I've got them two ways round is because basically I messed up. If you have a look at this name tag here and we take this first one, okay, I've got my little cutout here to be able to attach this to my bag. And I didn't actually have one of these name cards available. I just assumed that it was going to be this way around. Well, look, if I close this up, so I've got a press stud here. There you go. If I close that up there, well, that's all looking fine. But then when I open it up to check who the bag belongs to, look, I just see the mission statement of the school. I don't see their name. Okay, and you can see here we've got the beginning of name, address, telephone, email there. Okay, so actually all of these are wrong, 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 wrong. And then finally, when I actually borrowed someone's bag tag card, I realized it should have been this way. So now if I have a look at this one here, it's actually going to be this way around, and then that's going to go there, and that's going to go there. And then when it's opened up, you see the person's details straight away. Interesting. Okay, so if I have a look at my CAD file for this, let's just bring this up here and see what we have got. Now, first of all, what we see here is I have calculated the precise dimensions of the student's bag tag card, and I've also got in here the size of the little slot there that gives me the ability to attach it to my bag. That has a distance here of 12 millimeters along this edge, and then I've got a 1 radius rounded fillet at the end. Now then, let's have a see how that's going to work. To get this, I actually went to the double path tool, and if I right click on this, I set it to have a width of 2 millimeters, to have a start and end cap of 2 millimeters, and the start and end cap had a diameter of 2 millimeters as well. And now if I draw this out, now I'm going to just go to step lock here. I'm going to make sure that this is going to be with a 1 millimeter step lock. And then if I draw this out, then it gives me that. And right click to finish. Oh my goodness. That's because I've prepared for something else later in my video. I need to make sure that that is just going to be a thin line. Okay, also it shouldn't be red here. I've actually configured all of these to be a pale gray, and the reason for that is because then when I bring these across into my CAD file for the development, basically it's going to be super thin. In fact, faint, should I say. In fact, I'm not quite sure. I've grouped all that together. I'm actually going to ungroup that there, and I'm just going to make sure, yeah, that this, I'm going to make that pale gray. Oh, that's better. I'm preferring that. So let's just delete that one there. And then I've got my dimensions mapped in here. Now for my dimensions, normally the dimensions are black like this, but what I've done here is I've just made them gray because I want this to be sort of like a faint guide there. And of course I could also with these, I could select all of those dimension lines and I could shift select all of those dimension lines. I'm going to be using these later, and I could come to line color. I'm going to make it to that gray right there. So I just find that that's a kind of just makes it so that the drawing I'm trying to do just stands out a little bit more. If you're interested, I can also go to the right click on dimension lines and I can also make it so that in here, it's always going to be gray. So any more dimension lines that I add in here. So for example, what I really want to have here, if I come to a dimension line here, is I want to make sure that the distance, let's actually make this a horizontal dimension line. I want to make so the distance from there to, I want to have the midpoint. Yeah, there is going to be, let's drop that in there, 6 millimeters. And now all my dimension lines are going to be that paler gray color. Cool, I've got that fully dimensioned now. That's nice. 4 millimeter radius fillet on each corner. Okay, so then I've come into this element here where I've been mapping out my design. Just notice here that I've worked out that I want to have for me, that's my calculations anyway, a 2.5 millimeter margin for my leather cutout here. Which means that if I go to step lock here, what I need to do is make sure my step spacing is set to 2.5 millimeters. I've also, of course, got my 5 millimeter pale blue grid, which I strongly advise you work with. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to have a look at what's happening. Okay. Now, if you remember, I was saying that this is the right way and that's the wrong way because I want it so that when we open up our little bag tag protector, when I open it, I instantly see my details, and I'm not in a situation where the person opens it, sees the mission statement, and then has to turn it over to see the details. So based on that situation, if I have a look at these, this is wrong, and this is why I wanted to have this in thick 5 millimeters. Good, it's kept the details. Let's come to polyline here, right? So that is wrong. There you go. Okay, and let's just change this to green. Okay, and down here, this is going to be right, as is this. Okay, which tick is more beautiful? I'm going with that first tick, be more beautiful. Anyway, I messed the second one up. Now then, we've also just, well, the last thing to discuss in this video, in terms of the CAD file, are these cutouts here. So I've got different cutouts available. Okay, so what's happening here? Well, these size cutouts here are going to be the ones that work with these press studs. So you can see I've got these press studs here. In fact, if I do this and turn that over like that, then you can see the two press studs. You can see there's different types of press studs there. This is the male, this is the female. They snap together and that holds the bag tag cover closed. If I get the ID card here, remember this is the wrong way around here. I fold that over like this. I push that in and that can now be attached to my bag. Okay, so as I said, I've got to do another video for that. I've got to develop that component still, but I have ideas. Okay, so that's one system. So looking at what's happening here, we have got the male, the female, and then we've got these little rivets that then go on the back. And I am going to just bring the CAD file back here. These are the dimensions you need to work with if that's the system you're going for. So this would be for the female part, this would be for the male part. And notice we've got blue lines here. In fact, I'm actually looking at this. I feel as if, I'm going to ungroup that. It's a bit confusing what I've got there. I feel as if that needs to be removed. Okay, so this black line here, the black circle represents the rivet on the back, and the little blue circles are cut out for either the rivet pin or for the male part here. There's like a little raised section on the back there that goes in. So what I'm going to do is just do that right now. I'm going to move that out of the way. This brown bag tag, even though it's the wrong way around, is ready to work with these rivets. So I'm going to get these brown little Preston pieces. I'm going to put the rivet through there. Now notice I've got to make sure that I'm doing it the right way around. I want it to work like that. And then this is going to be the female part clicking onto there. So I'm going to push that through. So the pin of the rivet is going into the female press stud. I'm going to get now this special tool. It's like a nutcracker. Can you see it's closing there? Okay. I'm going to put this over the top this way around and then pinch that together. Here we go. It's got a good grip. Okay, I find those it's a bit too close together. It'd be easy if it was further apart. But anyway, let's have a look. And what it's done there is it's squashed that rivet end over the press stud. Now that's got that bit there, so that's good. And then this bit wants to come over the top. So look, this time I'm going to have the male part of the rivet here. I'm going to have, or the press stud, should I say? I'm going to bring in there the rivet. I'm going to push it together and then just make sure it locates correctly in that hole there. Also make sure it's all the right way around. Okay, so that looks like it's centrally placed. And then again, making sure that the rivet head goes onto the black part of this tool. Now I should have a special name for this tool. Ah, there you go. Right. And that now means that that will clip together. And again, looking good. Okay, that looks nice, looks great. So that's that one. Let's now have a look at the other design, which basically is with these little rivets that push all the way through. And I'm going to call them rivets anyway. So in terms of, again, I should have done some research here and worked out what all these things were. Very bad of me. Basically, we've got these two pins. We call them pins. They're different sizes, actually, and they're different colors. This one here is kind of bronzy gold, and this one here is silver. And we do have a few different colors as well of these. But the gold one is slightly larger than the silver one. So I've already got the gold one installed on this bag tag cover. And if I come back to the CAD file here, this is the larger of the two pins. Okay, so that's a 4mm hole. And here I've also got, if I just get a dimension line tool here and just draw that in from there to there, I've also got a little slit which is 5mm long from the center of that circle. So that basically means that I can pull this over and that will just open up. The slit opens up the hole as I push that on, and then once it's in position, it then keeps it in place. So again, if I get my ID card, let's try and put this in quickly here. There you go. And put that over the top. Then that just clips over like that. Okay, so again, we are good. Oh, I could beg your pardon. I need to have the camera there. That would help, wouldn't it? Bit of a mistake on my part. There we are. I just put that over there. Okay, so the little slit there means next to the circular cutout, when I push that over, it allows that hole to open up sufficiently to that then hold in place. So I need to do the same thing with this blue one. Let's just take the card out there because, of course, on the blue one, we're going to have the card the right way around. So here we go. I'm going to work with the smaller of these little pins. Let's come back to my CAD file here. And the smaller one, I've got here a shorter length slit into the circle. So if I just get, I'm going to turn off the step lock and turn the attach tool. And also I'm going to make sure that I've got perhaps a line color here that I can actually see. Let's put that back to fine. If I just snap onto the endpoints of that line and then bring this down and bring it across, that is 3.75 in length. So for that, I've had to change my step spacing here to 1.25. Then it goes to 2.5, 3.75, and that's allowed me to generate that length there. I've also got the diameter of the circle down to 3.5 there too. So this is for the smaller pins, and I'm going to be doing this now in this last model. So I've got some little screws here, specially designed for this. And let's get this all the right way around because yes, of course, now it's going to be like that. So I need to make sure that this comes in the back here. It just pushes in there because notice in my CAD file that has a diameter of 2.5. That's for the thread there of the little screw. And then I can get my little pin. I can tighten that up with my fingers, and then I can get a screwdriver here. Now this is a Phillips screwdriver, a little micro screwdriver, and I can then tighten that up. Now if it's skidding in my hands, I could get some thin nose pliers, hold that with some thin nose pliers for a bit of a better grip there, and then just really tighten that up there. Okay then, I don't want to damage that there, but that looks nice. And then let's just see if this fits now. So that is now the right way round with the name, address, etc. And I can now clip this over the top, and that is looking great there. Now I'll be honest with you, the hole that I made for this actually was the 4 millimeters because I measured them both and I thought it would be the same size, but I've realized that it should be 3.5. So looking at the way this clips over, it clips over a little bit too easily, and I feel as if the hole's a bit on the big side, but make it a bit smaller there to 3.75 rather than 4, and I think we're good to go. So that is it. We have got these 3 different colors of vegan leather, which can be laser engraved either on either side. And obviously I can, as a result of this, I can laser engrave on the back as well. So when I turn this over, I can see some graphics here too. Please notice that on some of these, we had it whereby well, to begin with, this is the first one I did, the engraving came through onto the inside face there, and that's because the laser cutter settings were set too high. The beam was too strong. So I turned that down now, and now you can see that when we engrave here, it doesn't come through onto the inside face of the leather. Cool. There you go. So your challenge basically is to design your own bag tag cover. Now remember, you don't have to copy it on my model here blow by blow. You can come up with different versions of this. But I've just covered here my design thinking, the sizing of the card, which I dimensioned up. You'll need to make sure you do that. The calculations of how the tag cover is going to fit over the card, then creating the net, and then working out how I'm going to snap the actual bag tag cover together, either using press studs or using these little pins. Okay, good luck.